Welcome to The Disappearing Mind, a unique podcast helping you find clarity and support along your dementia journey. Now, join National Dementia Trainer and Coach Dawn Platt for an all-new episode.
Welcome back to the Disappearing Mind podcast. I'm your host, Dawn Platt. I am so glad that you're here today. When people think of memory care, they often picture safety, maybe medication management, maybe it's a place you consider when things get too hard at home. But today, I want to shift that lens and talk about other areas of memory care that you may not have considered. Memory care isn't just about care. It's about community, it's about connection, and most importantly, it's about preserving dignity and creating daily moments of joy for the person who has dementia. Let's talk about why memory care programs are not just helpful, but meaningful, both for your loved one and for you. I'd like to talk a little bit about the foundations of a good memory care community or program. And this is a passion of mine. I have worked in the memory care community really since it has been created. And I'm passionate about caring for people with dementia, as well as providing the best care possible for individuals who live in a memory care community. But trusting the care of your beloved family member to a memory care community is never an easy choice. It's an emotional decision filled with uncertainty, concern, and often guilt. I've walked alongside families through this process for years, not only as a dementia coach and a memory care professional, but also as someone who understands the personal weight of such a transition. Having started my career many years ago, I've witnessed the powerful evolution of what memory care has become. Far more than a place, it's a thoughtfully designed environment with dignity, purpose, and compassion. Our goal is to always provide the highest level of care, rooted in understanding, respect, and the science of aging, so that families can find peace in knowing their loved one is truly supported. We're going to talk about some key points today as I go through the podcast. People first, always. The heart of any memory care is not the building, it's the team. Compassion, consistency, and commitment matter more than chandeliers. Programs with purpose are going to be important when you're looking at a memory care community. Activities shouldn't just fill time. They should connect to identity. They should have meaning for the purpose with dementia, movement, and memory-enhancing qualities to them. Integrated care. How great communities weave together nursing care, dining service, lifestyle, and family involvement. That's going to be important when we talk about caring for the whole person or person-centered care. The environment. There are environmental cues that occur in a memory care neighborhood. Simple design principles such as lighting, contrasting color, the flow of the neighborhood that reduce confusion and can increase independence. Leadership and culture. The tone of the memory care is really set by its leaders. Ask yourself, is the director visible, involved? Is there high staff turnover? Is joy observable and relationship between staff and resident? There are a few red flags, and I'm not going to really dig into those today, but I do want to talk about those briefly. And there are some red flags to watch for: lack of engagement, poor communication, inconsistent routines, or residents are just sitting idle, looking tattered, or isolated. Memory care should feel alive, not like a holding space, but like a place where life is still unfolding in every moment and with every resident, regardless of the stage of dementia that they may be in. Memory cares are designed to support with daily living. They're 24/7 care communities. In a good memory care community, your loved one receives 24/7 support. That can be from caregiver, from a nurse, from a combination of staff. But there's some basics that you're going to find in every memory care community, and that is bathing, dressing, assistance with mobility, toileting, and meals. These are called ADLs, or activities of daily living. And you'll hear people talk about those when you go and visit a memory care community. But here's what makes memory care different. This is what I want you to know and be aware of. The staff isn't just trained to do these types of tasks, the ADLs. They're trained to understand dementia-specific barriers that can make personal care difficult. Your mom or dad might resist a shower, not because they're being stubborn, but because they forgot that they haven't showered, or because it suddenly feels unsafe to them. That's where staff not only has state-mandated training, but oftentimes a good memory care program will offer additional training in the areas of behavioral management, communication, and personalization. That's where the skill of behavioral management comes in. Memory care team members are trained to reduce and redirect. Memory care members know how to bring calming tones and gentle cueing to support the person in a way that can reduce fear and foster trust in relationship. Prompting and cueing. A staff member who's trained in dementia may say something like, let's go get freshened up together, instead of, you need a shower. And that helps not only build cooperation, but to maintain independence. That kind of care, it can't always happen at home because you probably don't have the dementia education or the additional training that can be required in many types of dementia to provide good care. It's not just about keeping someone safe. It's about preserving personhood. That is the difference when you're looking at a memory care community. There's another aspect when you're talking about a memory care community that's kind of hard to duplicate at home, and that is socialization and belonging. One of the most significant things that we can offer someone living with dementia is social connection, a chance to share and give back, build relationships, and a way to focus energy, which can be an outlet into something meaningful and enjoyable for the person with dementia. Memory care communities offer structured social opportunities daily, such as morning coffee groups, music time, devotional readings, storytelling circles, birthday parties. Those things are kind of hard to duplicate at home, especially routinely. These shared rituals help reestablish a sense of belonging. Structures in their day are so important. A sense that I'm still part of something, or I'm giving back, I'm giving input, is what a resident who lives in a memory care community can experience. And for families, there's the comfort in knowing that your loved one isn't just spending every day isolated or alone. You may actually find that your family member is enjoying many of these opportunities and making new friends and acquaintances. Several years ago, I worked for a company, and we had one particular memory care that was always one of my favorites. And they did something that was not only unique, but it was inspirational. And I often share this story, but I want to share it with you. In this particular community, the executive director, the administrator, was a retired Air Force individual. And one of the things that he took time to do that ended up being hugely impactful was that they created a weekly activity where they brought people who were veterans together. They called this gathering a call to arms. It was held once a week, I believe on a Friday, around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And in this particular community, as in most, there were several veterans who resided, both men and women in this particular community of all branches of the military. And they would simply get together, have beverages or coffee in the afternoon, and they would sit, bring their photographs, bring their stories about their time in the military, whether it were Navy or whether it were Army, whether it were the Marines. I believe that they had all types of branches from the military. What was so interesting about this particular program is that residents don't always recall or remember or talk about or share stories about all of the many events that are done in a community. And if you have a loved one in a memory care community, you know that. You often have to ask them what they've done. But in this particular program, it was so impactful for those veterans to reconnect with their legacy, their life story, and come every week and actually tell mostly the same stories, but big stories, sharing stories, heartfelt stories that everyone seemed to enjoy. They began bringing parts of their uniform, pictures of themselves as they served in the military. And this began to be something that was not only emotionally impactful, but powerful. These residents began to share every aspect of this particular program with their families, calling them on the phone, sharing stories, anticipating the next week when they would be able to participate in this great program called A Call to Arms. So much that I was visiting there multiple times on the day that that program was going to exist. And I literally saw residents maybe an hour, 45 minutes prior to the event begin to line up at the door of their memory care neighborhood to be escorted out to this particular event. They would do this on a routine basis because they were so anticipatory of sharing this time and this energy with other veterans. That is highly unusual. It is anticipating something ahead, which is a processing skill that many people can lose. But because they were so tied to their legacy and so proud to be a veteran, this program actually was the differentiator in their day and in their week. I like to share stories like that because they were heartfelt. And hearing them tell their stories and connect to them were one of the most joyous times actually in my career inside of a community. And I just wanted to share that because I think it's a powerful reminder of how much we connect to our legacy. And preserving legacy is the hallmark of any memory care community. In addition to that, therapeutic engagement is extremely important. What you'll find in most memory care programs, and I encourage you to look for, is that programs are not just created to pass the time. They are actually built on a therapeutic approach. They're evidence and science-based that helps people with dementia preserve memory and enjoy the benefits of socialization. We're talking about things like music therapy, sensory gardens, art sessions, guided movement, memory boxes, and even pet therapy. Meaningful activities help to reduce agitation, help to reduce wandering and distress in many people who have dementia. When a resident is engaged, when their senses are activated, they're more likely to feel calm and connected to that environment. It is a proven way to allow a person to feel good about themselves and to actively allow them to give back, to give their opinions, and to share in a community. Behavior is often a communication. I always say every behavior is a voice. It is saying something. It may not be saying things in the way that we feel like it should, but that's what a behavior is about. And a structured engagement program can be powerful and proactive in helping people communicate how they're feeling, communicate their energy. Engagement can distract, it can redirect, and is often an outlet for people with dementia. We can see statistically that memory care programs offer a variety of activities that are tailored to individuals and their functioning cognitive ability. It can reduce incidence of falls and decrease behavioral expressions. According to a 2019 study in the Journal of American Geriatrics, structured and person-centered engagement activities significantly reduce agitation, anxiety, and apathy in individuals with moderate to severe dementia. Specifically, it states behavioral symptoms can decrease by 20% when daily activities are consistently offered over a 12-week period. Meaningful activities also can reduce falls. There was another report published in the BMC Geriatrics Journal in 2020, and it found that unmet activity needs in dementia residents were linked to increased pacing, exit seeking, and physical restlessness, which all contribute to fall risk. Communities that have implemented therapeutic engagement throughout the day saw a statistically significant drop in falls up to 30% by decreasing unstructured wandering and redirecting energy. Cognitive and social stimulation improves quality of life. The Alzheimer's Association has put out some studies as well. Their studies state that socialization and cognitive stimulation are associated with a slower rate of cognitive decline and can be shown to improve mood in individuals with dementia. In their 2023 facts and figures, it also notes that loneliness and isolation are linked to a 50% increase risk of developing dementia, highlighting the need for a structured community activity program. That's some pretty powerful statistics. Music and art therapy support emotional regulation. Studies from the National Institute on Aging show that music therapy can reduce the need for antipsychotic medication, can help regulate sleep and improve cooperation during care routines. This is some pretty interesting statistics here, and I have personally seen this throughout my career. People who participate in weekly art or music groups show an increased social interaction and a decrease in aggression behaviors, even in later stages of dementia. I think that those alone really do justify the need for a good memory care community with great therapeutic programming. The benefits of memory care are outstanding when you look at these kinds of numbers. The other things that I think are important is the trained staff. The staff is trained to reduce crisis and intervene when that is necessary. We're not always trained to do that in our home setting. And we really want to look at that opportunity as memory care communities provide staff training in dementia, specific techniques like validation therapy, definitely redirection and de-escalation. They report fewer hospitalizations and reduce the use of PRN medications. I think for the family, this can provide a peace of mind. I know many families are not equipped, don't always know what to do when a behavior arises. This can really be a differentiator when your loved one is in a memory care community. Let's talk about meals, the dining experience. A good memory care program understands that appetite changes with dementia, that people may forget that they're hungry or think that they're hungry and they have just eaten. They may not be able to sit during the entire meal. What happens when that occurs? The community actually adapts to that because they track meals, they track consumption, they weigh residents, and they can make adjustments to the needs of that person who is experiencing nutritional deficits. They use aromatherapy with essential oils like peppermint and citrus to help stimulate the appetite. Or think about baking cookies or brewing coffee. These are often used as a natural way to stimulate hunger in people with dementia. The menus are crafted with intention. Often, most menus are approved by a registered dietitian, meaning that they are nutritionally sound. And they include other options, such as fortified foods that are calorically high for those people who eat smaller portions. They provide special textures and diet alternates for those people who need them. Staff are trained also to assist with something that's called hand over hand feeding, and they are trained in prompting and cueing. People who have dementia often forget how to use a knife or a fork. They may even forget how to feed themselves. And sometimes they just need prompting and cueing to get themselves going. So staff is trained in all of those techniques within the dining program. They may note that someone needs visual cueing to just pick up a spoon, or they may need a weighted spoon, or they may just need someone to sit by them and eat with them, and the resident will mimic that behavior. The dining experience is much more than just nutrition. It becomes connection, comfort, and community. Dining experience is a very important time in a memory care community so that we are sure that not only are residents nutritionally sound, but that they are hydrated as well. And that is something that's really important. Outings and joyful living. Life doesn't end with dementia, and neither should new experiences end. A quality memory care program will offer outings that are simple, safe, but meaningful, such as scenic rides or visits to a garden center, a ice cream trip, or even watching children perform music. These are things that trained staff have and plan on the program calendar that residents can routinely engage in, making life a little bit more joyful for the person living with dementia. These experiences reconnect residents not only with the world, but they can often create new joyful memories that you will find make a difference in the mood and the life and the expression of your loved one with dementia. Lastly, I want to talk about trained, compassionate staff. So at the core of every good memory care program is its people. These caregivers, these specialists, their care professionals are not just workers. They're observers, they're interpreters, and they're companions. They are trained in Alzheimer's disease and related dementias. They use techniques grounded in research like validation, trauma-informed care, and emotional attunement. They know how to handle escalating situation. They know how to distract someone who may not be having a good day. These trained and compassionate caregivers can recognize unmet needs behind a behavior, and they often meet it with patience. And that's really, really important when you're talking about dementia care. That kind of understanding doesn't just come from kindness. It comes from knowledge, education, and training. And that kind of training can change lives when it comes to a quality memory care community and quality of life. Memory care isn't just a place, it's a promise. And those of us who are passionate about it commit to that promise every day to provide the best care that we can provide. It's a promise of dignity, of structure, of comfort, and of joy for your loved one. And it's an environment that's designed to support their uniqueness as a person, their personal legacy, and that of your family, as well as what's going to be their changing needs. And overall, it can be peace of mind for you as a family member. The right memory care program won't just meet the medical needs. It will allow you to be the wife, the son, or the daughter that you were before dementia, to foster relationships, meet new people in your situation, and to provide purposeful moments every single day. We hope today's episode of The Disappearing Mind helps illuminate that promise in your life. If it did, please share it with someone who may be considering this next step. I hope that you will take into account and truly consider a memory care community when the time comes. It is your decision as a family. I don't want you to be unaware. I don't want you to be fearful of the unknown. Until next time, this is Dawn Platt. Make it a memorable day.
Thank you for joining us for the Disappearing Mind podcast. We hope it's helped you find clarity and support along your journey. Be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode, visit our website to suggest future topics, and share the podcast with friends and family.